Welcome, everyone. I'm Stephen J Garvey, founder, leader of National Citizens Alliance, NCA, and we are officially registered, and we're running in York Simcoe, and we're planning to run in Nanaimo Ladysmith in March. So that's exciting for us. We're having a lot of fun at NCA. It's great to have integrity and speak the truth and stand up for the Canadian people in our country. It's a lot of fun. Tonight we're going to focus on the Burnaby weekend. We're going to look at the Yellow Vest protests, counter-protests. We're going to look at some media. And we're going to look at incident with BCIT. We should talk about that, and then we'll wrap it up. But hopefully this is insightful, and please share our message. I'm going to get right into this. We had a scheduled Yellow Vest event at Burnaby City Hall, and when we got there, I had to fly in from Calgary, and there was an 1.5-hour flight delay because of de-icing and all that, so we didn't get there early. We got there just before the event was going to start. It was beyond our control, and the counter-protesters were already there. I'm going to play some clips to shed light on this, but we're not against these counter-protesters. We just view them as indoctrinated Canadians. So that's what our country's producing, which is pretty sad. Our educational institutions and so forth. It's really sad. These people are, at least what they're uttering is anti-Canadian, and it's quite shameful. But we really need to take a look at the rhetoric in society coming out of the federal government, the mainstream media, and these educational institutions. If that's the product, there's something wrong, seriously wrong, with the educational system and what's going on in our country. The discourse is basically toxic, and it's dictatorial. They're basically trying to shut us up. And I looked into this guy, Allan Dutton. We did some research on him. He's an interesting character. He's basically spent his life pointing out who's a racist and who's not a racist. His group is called Canadian Anti-Racism and Research Society. At one time, it was receiving $100,000 a year of taxpayer money through the Multiculturalism Immigrant Community Liaison branch. We found that out. They're claiming they're not receiving any government money now, but who knows? What's amazing about this group, they're like a little mini George Soros group. They pride themselves on shutting people down, shutting down freedom of expression. If you go to their website here, which is quite amazing, and that's what they were trying to do on this past Saturday, is silence us. Very sad. It doesn't sound very constructive. There's no dialogue. It's just pointing the finger. You're a racist. And right here, this is where they talk about they've organized some of the largest demonstrations against so-called hate groups. And they pride themselves on shutting down groups and their rallies, and that's what we believe they were doing with us. I'm going to get right to the video. Let's get right into this. I'm just going to adjust the audio here, and then I'll do some commentary on this. Of Canada.
Hey, ho,
you are the man.
White nationalism.
Pardon me, sir?
Hey, hey.
Why?
Ho.
Why, sir? Why? Give me the facts. Give me the facts.
Are you going to keep on talking?
He's a communist. You can't talk.
He's a communist? Are you a self-proclaimed communist?
Are you ready to talk?
They're all communists.
I am. Let's go over here. Let's go over here.
Got to go. Hey,
There's no
hey.
debate with racism.
Ho, ho.
That's number one.
Xenophobia has got
You're
to go.
assuming I'm a
Hey,
racist
hey.
when
What
I'm
are you pointing
not.
at me?
No one's pointing, sir.
When you wear a yellow vest,
Yes?
that indicates your affiliation. Okay? And your affiliation with a yellow vest in Canada means that you're racist.
No,
Yes.
it means I'm anti-globalist UN. That's it. You're confusing that.
And look,
We're against the globalist
listen,
agenda.
Stop talking for a second. You're a white nationalist.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, what are you?
What am I?
Yeah, what are you?
I'm a Canadian. That's what I am.
And what does that mean to you?
I'm a Canadian.
What does it mean?
It means Canadian sovereignty, freedom of speech, justice, civil rights.
Yeah, well, that means for
That's what it
everybody.
means to me.
For everybody, and that means immigrants too.
It doesn't mean open borders. It doesn't mean open borders. It's our country. Why?
Why should we have more people in?
Why?
When we're destroying their economy?
Why should we destroy our country?
You are destroying their economy. The capitalism is destroying everybody's economy, and you're suffering from it. And you're blaming immigrants for what you're.
It's more than capitalism. Come on. It's a globalist agenda.
You're xenophobic.
That was Mr. Dutton confronting me on Saturday. I just wanted to showcase that. This is a guy who's, like I said, who's been pointing the finger of racism at so many Canadians over decades. It's crazy. And he was insinuating that yellow vest is racist. He doesn't back that up. But I explained to him that we support the anti-globalist UN aspect of the yellow vest movement. Sure, there may be some racists in it, but you know, they could be in any organization. But it seems a bit far stretched. You know, he's trying to paint a brush of everyone as a racist, and then he calls us white nationalists. Come on, we got lots of immigrants in the party, people with mixed background. I'm from an immigrant family. We stand up for Canadians. We want to put our people, our country first. You know, we believe the traditional populations of Canada, Anglophone, Francophone, First Nations, Inuit, Métis, should be the majority of the population. They created this country. The institutions, the infrastructure, the educational systems, etc. Why should they be pushed to a minority? So we definitely want the traditional populations to continue to be a majority. They're under threat right now through the sustained mass immigration. Another thing is he's blaming capitalism for all our ills, and it's just ridiculous. Capitalism isn't perfect. It just needs some you know, restraints on it, so it doesn't you know, overextend and harm people. And as long as it has significant constraints, we don't view an issue with capitalism. We support free enterprise, and I think he's confusing this globalist UN agenda with capitalism, because you know, that's these are the super wealthy globalists that are behind this globalist UN agenda, and that's very terrifying. This is basically global world order tyranny that they're imposing through UN Agenda 21, UN Agenda 2030. So get informed on that. We have videos up on our YouTube page and Facebook page, so make sure you get informed on those issues. And I'm going to shift here. This is an article that appeared in the paper, and they say anti-immigrant group. Yellow vest holding rally at Burnaby City Hall. Again, where do they get this anti-immigrant from? Where do they get, you know, this is a common theme with the NCA. They try, just because we talk about immigration, we're against mass immigration. We want responsible, balanced immigration that is in full benefit of the Canadian people, our country. Somehow that equates to anti-immigrant. It defies any sense of logic, common sense. It's basically just a smear thing. You You know, these lackey media journalists, some of them, they're just pushing the globalist status quo, and anyone who talks about immigration is automatically a racist, anti-immigrant. It defies any sense, but that's okay. They showcase some of our policies in that, and I'm going to play another video here that'll shed more insight onto this. This is a video of David Suzuki saying he opposes mass immigration. I think everyone needs to see this.
In our country, where Canadians are not replacing themselves, we're having less than 2 children per family. We're using immigration to keep the population
Now,
rising.
you got yourself in hot water at home recently when you said Canada is full and that the immigration policy is disgusting.
Yes.
What was your point?
Well, the immigration policy that is disgusting is we are allowing people to come in if they pay us a whack of money, or if they are trained in medicine or some of the high professions that are desperately needed by the countries from which they come. We're just buying them. We're not willing to pay to train our own people, and we're sucking them from some of the poorest countries like India and Pakistan, South Africa. We're bringing them into Canada, and I happen to think that's disgusting. I think that we have a responsibility to those populations in other parts of the world that are far poorer than ours, because we are obscenely wealthy compared to them, and we've got to share it with those others.
Can I just ask you the obvious point then? I mean, the idea that Canada is full means you close the doors, you don't let poor people in if they want to come to Canada.
I think that we have an obligation with refugees. I'm proud to say that we took 50,000 Vietnamese boat people when they had the problem. But I think the reality is that we are way over the capacity of Canada to support the population we have.
Okay.
In our country, where
there you have David Suzuki. So according to Allan Dutton, David Suzuki is a racist because he opposes mass immigration. He's anti-immigrant too. How many Canadians are racist then? According to this twisted way of applying this so-called racism. This is nonsensical. These are the globalist sellouts in Ottawa. They're in the provincial government, municipal government. It's coming through this UN Global World Order agenda. They want to open our borders. They want to transform our country into a UN globalist village. Get informed. It's happening every day. Look at your community. Look at our country. What's happening? You know, our people are coming last. These new immigrants, refugees coming in are getting first-class service here on the backs of the Canadian taxpayers. This is all wrong. Remember this. According to Dutton, David Suzuki is an outright racist, according to that twisted logic. So this is absurd, and we thank David Suzuki. We don't support everything he stands for, but it's great that he spoke up on mass immigration. He only touched on the environmental impact of mass immigration because it's harming our environment, our ecosystems. We can see that there's around 95,000 hectares of land each year that are bulldozed to make room for more housing, malls, parking lots, and that is a fact. A lot of this is going over prime agricultural land in Canada. There's also the economic impact of mass immigration. Right now, according to our research out of SFU, Grubel and his partner McKay, we estimate that the new immigrants coming in, including refugees, are a net negative 40 billion a year, taxation negative that is. That means they're consuming more services than taxes paid to the tune of $40 billion. That is a fact. And then add this on, at least at the federal level, the Ministry of Immigration is costing over $24 billion a year. There is some overlap there, but it's not completely overlapped. In terms of society, we have groups coming into Canada that are basically not integrating, and they want to push their stuff on us. We just need to look at the Islamic Party of Ontario, the Islamic Party of Canada, and both of these parties that are seeking registration want to implement Sharia in Canada. Unbelievable. This is what's happening to our country. So we encourage people to wake up. This has nothing to do with racism or anti-immigrant. It's all about Canadianism versus globalism and UN and there's lots of globalists in Ottawa. They're all globalists in Ottawa. Don't be fooled. So I'm going to shift here. I want to show another video here, and this is some of the insanity that was going on that day. I'm just going to play it. These people are they must be indoctrinated, completely misinformed. But this is what this globalist aspect of our society is producing. It's shameful.
Yes. Austerity, no. Immigration, 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 yes.
We love all immigrants in Canada. We love them all. We love them all.
Don't touch me, please. Austerity, no. Immigration, yes. 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 Austerity, no. Immigration. Immigration, yes. Austerity, no. Immigration, yes.
This is our dialogue. There's no reason, right? This is our dialogue. We support, we're pro-immigration, we're pro-Canada, but the thing is, we are
No borders, no walls, no one is illegal. 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 No borders, no walls, no.
And there you have that. Unbelievable, the rhetoric coming out of those people. As far as we're concerned, they're completely indoctrinated. They're actually anti-Canadian, the stuff they're saying. It doesn't make sense. We wish them well. We hope they wake up. You know, they were saying no one is illegal. That's right out of the UN and this globalist agenda. And the federal government doesn't even, you know, they won't even admit they're illegal. They just say they're irregular. It's unbelievable. But that's absurd. Anyone crossing our border illegally is illegal. That's all there is to it. And the NCA has zero tolerance for that. We will deport any migrant crossing the U.S.-Canadian border illegally. And we will work with the U.S. to amend the Safe Third Country Agreement to that effect. Also, we will not accept a single asylum case from anyone crossing the U.S.-Canada border. And again, we will amend U.S.-Canada Safe Third Country Agreement to that effect. This is absurd. They also say no austerity, so the governments can keep growing and spending our money. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. While many Canadians are struggling, our seniors, our students, our single moms, single dads, and veterans, on and on, are struggling, and they say no austerity? That's ridiculous. And then they say yes to immigrants. So fine, yes to immigrants, but we want responsible, balanced immigration. It's not yes to open borders. They say no borders. So what they're saying is no Canada. So this is textbook globalist agenda. These people are completely indoctrinated. They're blaming capitalism for everything when they should be looking deeper at this global world order agenda that's manifested through UN Agenda 21, UN Agenda 2030. Just look it up. Mulroney signed us onto Agenda 21, Harper onto Agenda 2030, and the government on their website, the current government, says they're fully implementing Agenda 2030. And look at our video on Davos 2019. That was shocking, because that was just a convergence of all these globalists and the super wealthy on their plans to implement this global world order. So look that up, our video on that. But this is pretty disturbing. We wish these Canadians well. We hope they look at the facts and wake up. Because right now they're perpetuating this globalist status quo that is transforming our country. We are being transformed into a UN globalist village, and sadly, our traditional populations are being replaced. This is a fact through the demographic data. There's no denial of that. And we're not against immigrants, but we want responsible, balanced immigration. We reject open borders, no borders. That is absolutely absurd. So I'm going to shift to another video here. This one's a little more positive, but it's good to see how these people think. I'm just going to shift here. Shift to this video now. And I'll adjust the audio quickly. Yeah, check out our policies. Please check them out.
Yeah, for sure.
And we got lots of videos, so True Grassroots. And we believe in Canadian citizenry, not global citizenry.
Exactly, yeah.
We believe in Canadian sovereignty, not no borders.
Yeah.
Like these nutcases.
Ridiculous
right?
idea, yeah.
So
I wish I was here for that. I would have loved to.
But there's video up there. You can check it out later. Yeah. It's going to be up there, but at least we showcased it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I really appreciate you supporting Yellow Vest.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate
you. They were calling us racist today. Can you believe
it?
And all I said,
immigrant isn't a race.
Exactly.
Come on.
I'm wearing this because I'm anti-globalist.
Yeah,
right?
good,
Like
yeah,
you. That's
here.
it.
Yep.
Anti-globalist UN, and that's what you said, right?
Exactly.
And what about your hat?
Make Canada great again. Kind of a play on words with Trump's "Make America Great Again," obviously. I just think it's a good slogan. It's actually from a friend. She's not here now, but a friend of mine just gave it to me and said, "Hey, you want to wear this?" And I thought, yeah, sure. Like I want to bring back what made Canada great just a matter of years ago. Like it used to be a great country that everybody could just walk around and feel safe, get along with everybody easily, not worry about foreign organizations controlling our borders. And nowadays we actually have things that we need to be worrying about because the country's going, it's got a slow decline going on right now, and it's unfortunate because I love this country. I thought it was the best in the world.
Exactly.
A matter of
There you have that. That was great. That was Chase. He's from Vancouver. This nice gentleman, this nice Canadian is pretty much fully awake. He sees what's happening to his country, which he loves, and he's very concerned about it. And so we had a good dialogue there. You can watch the full video on our YouTube at National Citizens Alliance or on our Facebook page. But hats off to you, Chase, for standing up for our people, our country. And he made a really astute point that I'm going to double down on. He said immigrant is not a race, quote. Immigrant is not racist. Immigrant is not a race. So wonderful, wonderful stuff there. And he's totally right. Even immigrants are not a race. So, you know, making the correlation that somehow because when you talk about immigrants or immigration, you're somehow racist, it doesn't make sense. It defies any sense of logic. And like I said, it's our country. We control the borders. We control who comes in, who comes out. That is our right as a sovereign country. So do not get bullied by these indoctrinated Canadians who are just pushing the globalist status quo. And now I'm going to turn to just one final incident that happened. We were approached by a couple of BCIT students to do interviews. These were journalist students. One of the students was at that Burnaby rally, and we did an interview, which is fine. We were glad to help that particular student, and then we had this woman student approach us, and she wanted to do an interview on Monday. That's fine. You know, we will go out of our way to help our students, even though, you know, it's not really going to benefit us. And then we were scheduling for the interview sometime in the afternoon on Monday this week. And then we thought, well, let's do a live feed of it as well, so our members, supporters can see what we're saying, and we can be transparent about the interview. We relayed that to the student. She said she had to check with her professor. She ended up coming back to us saying, no, they didn't want us doing a live feed. You know, we promised not to have her in the video. We were doing it in a public space. But the professor said, because we have a candidate running in Burnaby South, we didn't think it was fair to the other candidates. And then we contacted her back and said that candidate had to withdraw due to personal reasons. And then she came back and said the professor still didn't want us to do the live feed. So basically they wanted to control the interview. And then we asked for the professor's name, contact information, so we at least could talk to him, find some kind of compromise. She said she couldn't give out that information. Unbelievable. And then we said, well, why doesn't he give us a call so we can try and work this out? We never heard from him. So basically the professor was dictating that they had to have control over the content, which they can, you know, they can manipulate and into some kind of product that could potentially smear us. So they didn't want any transparency and accountability, which was really disappointing. So what are they teaching our students? What are they teaching them? They wouldn't allow a live video of it. They felt that was somehow promoting us just because they were interviewing us. But we all know about the media. There's a lot of propagandists. You know, we get smeared all the time. I was on a talk radio today out of Edmonton. It was, oh my God, that was hilarious what happened. You know, but you're going to have to listen to that. That's up on our Facebook page. But that was unbelievable. This guy was, he was like from another planet. And he just couldn't comprehend what a grassroots, true, uncontrolled opposition party is. And he was kind of taken aback because he called me an aspiring politician. We're not aspiring politicians at the NCA. We are We are representatives. We view ourselves as non-establishment representatives of the people, non-career as well. We're not politicians. We don't ever want to be a politician. Who would want to be a politician? They're viewed as liars, cheats. We're not politicians. We strive to represent the Canadian people as non-career, non-establishment representatives. We will never be these crooked career politicians, ever. That's not NCA. We are true grassroots, uncontrolled. And that means non-establishment, non-career. We represent, we work for the Canadian people, our country. That's NCA. So please join us. And you can join on nationalcitizensalliance.ca. And I tell you, it's a lot of fun at the NCA. We're having a lot of fun, and we're bursting a lot of bubbles. And but this is all about the Canadian people. Remember that. We do not play the left-right control game. We do not play the liberal-conservative control game either. Those are old relics. They have no relevancy today in Canada. What matters to us is Canadianism versus globalism UN. That's all that matters. And please share this message. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you.